Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we discover if your favorite companies are truly masters of disguise or just playing dress up with their financials. Today we're diving into Bank of America's latest filing, a document that gives us a peek behind the curtain of one of the world's largest financial institutions, and trust me, there are some interesting management shifts to talk about. This report is a current report, basically a heads up to investors about significant events. This one from September 12, 2025 tells us about some pretty important changes at the very top of Bank of America. So what happened? Well, the company announced some new leadership roles. Dean C. Athanasia, who was heading up regional banking, and James P. DeMare, who led global markets, have both been appointed co-presidents. That's a big deal, showing a shared leadership approach at the highest level. They also promoted Alastair M. Borthwick, the current Chief Financial Officer, to Executive Vice President. So he's taking on more responsibility while keeping his CFO hat on. These kinds of moves often signal a company's strategy for growth or stability, and it's always worth watching how these new arrangements play out. Now, while this report doesn't contain deep financial tables like a quarterly earnings report, it does list all the different types of securities that Bank of America has registered with the stock exchange. Think of these as all the different ways folks can invest in or lend money to Bank of America. They've got their common stock, obviously symbolized by BAC, which is what most people think of when they hear Bank of America. But then there's a whole alphabet soup of preferred stock and other securities like depository shares for Series E Series, GG Series, HH Series L, and many, many more going all the way to Series SS. Each of these series, like BAT Pro S, represents a different slice of the company, perhaps with different dividend rates or different levels of risk and reward for investors. It shows how complex the capital structure of a giant bank can be. They even have these things called preferred hybrid income term securities, BAC PPG, for example. This sounds a bit like a mix between debt and equity, and it shows they're getting creative with how they raise money. And check this out, income capital obligation notes due way out in 2066, way past when most of us will be around. This is long-term financing, and it tells us they're planning for the very distant future. The real meat of this report beyond the leadership announcement is in the attached exhibits, but unfortunately for our deep dive today, the key exhibit is just a press release. Yes, the exhibit 99.1 is simply the press release announcing these executive changes. While important for confirming the news, it means we don't have new hard financial numbers to dissect in this specific filing. The scroll tags here point to the different stock types and their symbols, really illustrating the breadth of their public offerings. So what's my take on this Bank of America is clearly making moves at the top. Appointing co-presidents suggests a strategy of sharing the leadership and perhaps diversifying decision-making power, which could be a strength. It might also be a way to develop future leaders or to ensure continuity. The promotion of the CFO to AVP is also a sign of trust and confidence in his financial stewardship. One risk to consider with a shared leadership model is the potential for slower decision-making if the presidents don't align perfectly. However, it could also lead to more robust discussions and better outcomes. With a company as large and complex as Bank of America, these leadership shifts are always significant indicators of its future direction and internal dynamics. We didn't get any new numbers here, but the underlying structure of their financial instruments shown in the listings is incredibly diverse and complex. This diversity allows them to access capital in many different ways, providing flexibility but also complexity in management. Looking at the broader picture, Bank of America operates in a highly competitive and heavily regulated industry. These leadership changes will be watched closely by investors, regulators, and competitors alike to see how they impact the company's strategic execution and overall financial health. Alright, that's our quick decode of this Bank of America filing. What do you think about these leadership changes? Do they signal strength or something else? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for even more insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.